Honey, you got a big storm coming. Hi! This video has been a long time coming. I was planning on making this yonks and yonks and yonks ago, but I just never got around to jump straight into it, to be honest. Today I'm going to be taking you through my personal tips for tattoo aftercare. Exciting, right? I wanted to make this a while ago, but the plan was I was going to make it next time I got a new tattoo, so I could actually show you step by step what I do and the product I use. But Miss Roni happened and I've not been able to get out and get any new tattoos, so I was like, you know what, I'll just do it anyway. I don't have to show you guys. I mean, it'd probably be better to show you, but too bad, you're not getting it. I would like to start by saying everyone has different methods for how they care for their tattoos. Different artists will also recommend different ways they think their style or their artwork would heal best. And some people don't even do any tattoo aftercare at all. Be that as it may, I'm going to take you through my preferred experience of healing tattoos and what works best for me. Just because it works the best for me might not work the best for you. The products I use or the methods I use might not react as well with your body because everyone's different and that's okay. Without further ado, step 1. Keep it covered. For those who don't know, when you first get a tattoo, usually the artist will wrap it in cling film. Usually. Some of them don't, some of them use burn bandages. I've had tattoos healed with burn bandages before. That's a completely different kettle of fish. That's way easier in my opinion. But a lot of them will just wrap them in cling film so that you can get in your car or get on the bus and get yourself home without getting all the dirt and germs into your fresh open wound. Because yes, a tattoo is a massive gaping hole of flesh in your arm or wherever you've got it on your body. Your tattoo's an open wound is what I'm trying to say. Usually I keep the wrapping on for the rest of that day and then overnight as well, just to make sure that there's nothing bad getting in the tattoo. It's not touching anything that it shouldn't be touching. Usually before a tattoo I'll get clean bed sheets and clean jammies, but I also have 2 dogs in the house, so nothing's ever 100% clean in this house, ever. So I just keep it wrapped overnight because I don't want anything infecting it at all. Then the next morning I will take off the cling film and wash the tattoo, get all the gunk off and all that. Sometimes I'll rewrap it depending on what I'm doing that day. Not exercise, because as soon as I get a tattoo, that's exercise going out the window. I'm like, I am not moving, I have an excuse, I'm not doing anything. But if I'm doing something that I'm a bit worried about getting any dirt in the tattoo whilst doing that activity, I will wrap it. I must stress to you though, when you unwrap your tattoo, do not sniff the dirty cling film. I admit I have done it. I know that my friends who have tattoos have also done it. We're all guilty of it, but my nostrils have never been so assaulted and terrorised by the absolute stench that is my own healing bloody, inky, plasma-covered wounds. Only bad thing about this mic is it's got a big huge wire that I keep getting fucking tangled in. New monochrome shaker, by the way. Isn't she tidy? Anyway, sorry, sidetracked by my sneak for a second. Step number 2, keep it clean. I like to clean my tattoo with a wee bit of lukewarm water and a little bit of soap, like a tiny wee bit of soap that I just thingy up in my hands with a little bit of water and then rub it on. I keep doing this to this arm because this is where I've had the most practice of doing it. I would not recommend using a perfumed soap, anything with a really strong scent or anything from, not trying to put this brands down, but anything from Lush, that kind of smelly, like the big strong smells. I wouldn't use that on your tattoo. I mean, some people probably do use it and it works fine, but for me, I have sensitive skin and anything with a strong perfume that I put on the open wound, on the tattoo, it stings like a bitch and breaks out in a rash. So my little sensitive being that I am, I take no chances and I just use a regular, nice little, a normal soap. Your average 99p bar that smells like soap. It's not got an added scent of roses or some weird shit to it, you know what I mean? Just your average little bar soap will do. Luckily, my mum likes to buy organic bars of soap, which don't have any added scents to them, so I usually use that. I also just use 99p bars of soap from Boots or the Carex liquid stuff. Use whatever soap works for you. I recommend staying away from things with a really strong scent. But yeah, again, this is all just what works for you, this is what works for me. Do what you want. Kind of. Now this bit's going to sound a little bit rank, but what I do is I take the lukewarm water. Say this was a fresh tattoo. Gaping wound, blood everywhere, it's horrific, right? Taking the cling film off, what I would usually do is take the lukewarm water and then brush off the layer of plasma and excess ink and dried blood that has crusted over, because that's what happens. Trigger warning, I guess. It's a bloody mess. Anyways, I take that top layer of kind of gunk and plasma stuff off, whatever it is. Don't really know, to be honest. And then I just keep rinsing it nice and gently. I don't even like press hard, I just literally like really, really gently wipe my hand over it. Barely even touching the skin, because it's very fucking painful, I can tell you that. And then once I've done that, I rub my hand on the bar of soap, pretend this is my bar of soap, I'm rubbing my hand on the bar of soap, and then put my hands into the lukewarm water, get my hands all nice and lathered up, and then gently just wipe over the tattoo again, rinse the soap off, obviously, and that's that. And then I move on to step 3, letting it dry. I find that the best way to dry off a tattoo is to just let it air dry. I know it probably sounds a bit tedious, but just let your limbs or wherever you've got your tattoo, just let it air dry. Sit in the bathroom for a couple minutes and just let it do its own work. I also like to take a very fresh, very clean, preferably straight out the washing machine, towel, and just dab the area around the tattoo. Do not touch the tattoo with the towel. You do not know what's still on that towel. You don't know who's used that towel before you. But I like to just dab the area around and then just let the tattoo air dry itself. I know that letting it air dry sounds very tedious, but you really don't want to run the risk of getting an infection because you've used a towel that someone else has used before you, it's got slightly dirty, or even just the towel fibres have came off into your tattoo and caused some sort of bother. There's too many horror stories that I've heard about tattoos going bad, to be honest, so I'm very, very precautious. Then once it's dry, I like to move on to step 4, moisturising. Moisturise, but not too much, but also not too little. Let me explain. Too little moisturising and the tattoo will scab over, get crusty, dry out, be a minging mess. Too much and the scab will go soggy and it'll take longer to heal and it'll be a soggy mess. Either way, it's going to be a mess. A nice thin layer of moisturiser is all you need. Make sure the whole tat's covered, do not overload it. I like to use E45 cream because it's nice and unscented for my sensitive skin, like I've mentioned before. I just like to put a nice thin layer over the top of the tattoo. E45 is white cream and I like to rub it in enough that you can see that there's moisturiser on the skin because it's like shiny, but there's no like white clumps left, like it's properly nice and rubbed in, and that's how I moisturise it. Some people that I know have used the special, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like actual tattoo cream that tattoo artists sell, and it's an actual cream made to cover and heal tattoos. I've never used it, but it is out there if you want to try it. A lot of artists do actually stock it in their parlours, shops, whatever you want to call them, studios, I don't know. I've also used Aveeno from time to time, that works quite well. Bepanthen used to be the big daddy. I'm not saying that in a video. Bepanthen used to be the big kahuna, so to speak, like the nappy cream, because it was like, it trapped in moisture but also like didn't rub or something, but then they changed their formula and it wasn't good for tattoos anymore. There was some sort of chemical in it that made it a bit bad, so that's off the table, but I just thought I'd give you a little bit of history lesson there. There you go. I've also been recommended to use cocoa butter before, and that was the one that did not work for me. Cocoa butter was a big no-no. I used that on my tiger at first and it did not agree with my skin. To be honest, that was the very first time I ever used cocoa butter for anything, so I just think it didn't really agree with my sensitive skin. I'm a very sensitive soul. I put that cocoa butter on my skin and she said, "Not doing it, sorry," and she was out of there. It wasn't even rashes, it was more like spotted, like little spots on the tattoo, so I was like, fuck, this is gonna ruin my tattoo forever. Everything was fine, I stopped using it and went back to my usual E45, but just a little warning, if you're a sensitive soul like me, do not use cocoa butter unless you're like used to using it and you know that your skin can handle it. That's kind of an error on my part, I guess, to be honest. I'd also like to just give a quick honourable mention to the burn bandages department of tattoo aftercare. I've had a burn bandage on one tattoo. It was my Sparky tattoo. There he is, sorry, not shaved my legs. don't judge me. The guy who did my Sparky tattoo, Vic, he had these little bandages, I guess, and they're basically like, the way he described it was like a clear layer of artificial skin that they put on top of burn wounds on burn victims, and it just helps the skin heal underneath it and protect it from anything from the outside, and you just stick it on, and it's like a breathable plaster type thing. So he stuck that on and it stayed on, I think it was like 3 to 5 days it should stay on for, and then it just kind of like, when it's time to come off, the bandage starts to peel itself. So then you know, oh, it's time to take it off. So that was absolutely brilliant to heal, because I literally kept it on and did nothing. I did fuck all. Like, there was no moisturiser. Well, I had to moisturise after those 5 days, but like, I didn't have to wash it, I didn't have to dry it. I could even wear that bandage in the shower. He did recommend keeping it out of the water. Like, don't submerge it, like don't have a bath. You know what I mean? But having a gentle shower and kind of just being wary of it was fine. I really enjoyed that, but not all tattoo artists do that. I think they're quite expensive, and obviously they're prioritised for burn victims, not voluntary tattoo victims. Step 5, rinse and repeat, my dude. I repeat that washing, drying and moisturising protocol, so to speak, for 2 to 3 times a day for about a week. After the week's passed and I'm, you know, suitably happy with my tattoo, it's not too painful to touch or that anymore, I cut it down to just twice a day, once when I wake up, once before I go to bed. And then I cut it down to just not even washing it, just gently moisturising it whenever it feels a bit dry. A couple weeks I do that, and then eventually it gets to the point where that's it, it's done, and you can just let it do its thing. I would like to say though as well, just to put it out there, don't overwash your tattoo either. That's also actually going to cause you some damage, because obviously it's an open wound. It needs that time to be able to scab over and heal itself, and if you're constantly, you know, washing it and rubbing away at whatever progress you're made, you're just going to take away all of that scabbing and healing process and whatever. You're going to just take that right back to ground zero. So don't overwash it, but wash it frequently enough that you're not going to get infected. I don't really rewrap my tattoo unless I know I'm going to be in a situation where I'm in either like close proximity to a lot of people, or if I'm going to be sitting outside for extended periods of time, stuff like that. Or if further down the line I go to the gym, I like to cover it before I go to the gym, because gyms are nasty. But obviously no one's going to the gym now till the end of September, so you don't even have to worry about that. I say usually, but these things don't happen a lot. But if I'm going on a night out to either a pub or a club, any time I'm going on like a proper night out, I'd wrap it, because people are disgusting. If I'm going to the gym, because people are disgusting. And if I'm doing any sort of exercise or sitting outside for a long time, because people and nature are disgusting. Oh, and I also rewrap it if it's in a weird place for me to shower. Not gonna lie, usually right before I get my tattoo I shower, and then I give myself a couple days just to not wash. Sounds gross, but sometimes you need it. If your tattoo's in a weird place and you can't really get wet, you might as well just not shower. On this arm, whenever I've had any of these tattoos, before I'd get in the shower, I would just quickly wrap a bit of cling film around it and then shower with this arm out of the water, and do that to the best of my ability. Obviously it's harder with tattoos on your legs or on your actual body, but just do your best with what you got. So yeah, that's my process. If it works for you, great, glad to help. If not, just find something that does work for you. There's a whole load of different ways of healing tattoos, so just find what works for you and stick to it. So that's the end of that. Now I'm going to go over just some little kind of do's and don'ts of stuff to do with your tattoos when they're fresh and you're trying to care for them. Some of these are going to sound pretty obvious, but just bear with me. You're going to want to keep your tattoo away from your pets. I know we all love them, our little furry friends, or scaly friends, or skinny friends. I don't know what kind of pets you have, but I have 2 dogs, and I know for a fact that they would love to lick my tattoos. Part of a dog's natural thing. I don't know if it's the same for cats or bunny rabbits or whatever, but if they have a cut or wound, they like to lick it, to clean it, in their eyes. So obviously you're hobbling about with a fresh wound pretty much on your body. They're going to want to lick it because they think that they're helping you by cleaning it, when really they're doing the opposite. And as much as I admire them for trying to help, don't let them near it. I know you love them, but do not let them near it. Also, as tempting as I know it is, do not itch your damn tattoo. Part of the process of getting a tattoo is usually getting that part of your body shaved by the tattoo artist right before they do the tattoo. Just so that there's no hair and it's not lumpy. I don't know exactly why, but it's just so they've got like a nice flat canvas, I guess. You've got an open wound that's trying to scab over and heal, that's going to be itchy anyway. Plus, depending on where it is on your body, you're going to have all those tiny little hairs trying to grow back in.
It's going to itch like fuck.
But you cannot itch it because it needs to heal. And if you itch it, you'll probably take the scab off and it'll hurt way more than you could ever imagine. That also brings me around to, don't pick the scab, obviously, because not only will you start to bleed and it'll hurt, you're opening your wound back up to infection and the ink goes patchy. I learnt the hard way. If you pick the scab, the ink goes patchy. Like I said before, showering is a bit difficult depending on where your tattoo is, but swimming is an absolute no-go. Swimming pools are disgusting. People are disgusting and people go in swimming pools and get all their germs in the swimming pool. Kids pee in the pool, some of them shit in the pool, some of them are sick in the pool. There's just a lot of germs, and then to counteract those germs there's a lot of chemicals in the water, chlorine and all that. It's a recipe for disaster if you've got a tattoo, to be honest. And then if you're swimming in like a river or the sea, there could be all sorts of germs, flesh-eating amoebas. You don't know what you're going to come across. If you have a fresh tattoo, don't go swimming. Also keep an eye out for sun damage on your tattoo. Not much of a problem for me because I'm in Scotland and I'm actually looking at the dull grey sky as we speak. Over time, tattoos naturally fade because the sunlight, I don't want to say the sunlight bleaches them because I don't think that's right, but like the sunlight has an effect on your tattoos. And over time, your tattoos gradually fade anyway. If your tattoos are already going to fade over time, you don't want your tattoo fading from the get-go. My advice is keep it covered and moisturised and wear, like, even if you're in the sun, wear something that's going to cover the tattoo, just because sunburn hurts and you really don't want it to damage your tattoo because that's already damaged skin. This should go without saying, but some people out there really need to hear this. Don't let people touch it. If you've got an open wound, right? I keep calling it an open wound. It's a fresh tattoo because it is technically an open wound. Don't let grubby people touch it with their grubby hands. People are minging. Don't let them touch your shit. Another thing that I find that helps when you've got a fresh tattoo and you're trying to come to terms with it, I suppose. Get used to it. Get used to it is what I mean, not come to terms with it. I keep saying that like it's a bad thing, but tattoos are great. So what I mean is, wear comfy clothes when you can that don't rub against the tattoo, at least at the start. Wear comfy clothes to get the tattoo actually done in, something that's not going to rub on the area once you've had it done. Wear comfy clothes while it's healing. Obviously it'll help it heal better, but also you'll feel a lot better if you're able to go about your daily business and just forget that it's even happening, it's even there, rather than you being like, I don't know, say you got a tattoo on your leg and you're wearing a really tight pair of denim skinny jeans. You're not going to be happy with it. That's what I'm getting at. If you go out like that, you're going to feel absolutely awful. So just keep it comfy. Be comfy, make sure your tattoo is comfy. My final piece of advice for you today is do not do anything stupid. Just don't go doing weird stuff to it, because if you're like, oh, I did this, that and the other, you're gonna get it infected. What are you thinking? There we go. That is it. Those are my top tips for tattoo aftercare. Woo! I hope this video has, I don't know, helped you find out what works for you, what helps you to heal your tattoos. If not, it's fine, just ask your artist, I guess. They'll know the best way to heal tattoos because they do them for a living. They probably know a bit better than me, but you know, happy to help, always will. Please, please, please keep in mind that everyone's bodies are different. Just because this works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. So by all means take this advice, give it a try. If something doesn't work, don't be angry at me just because our bodies are different. That's okay. Just figure out what went wrong and try something else. If you have any other tattoo related questions or aftercare related questions, feel free to leave me a comment. Where are the comments now? Down there, up the side? I can't remember where they are now. There was an update and it moved. I don't know. But yeah, leave me a comment somewhere, wherever they go now, and I will do my best to get back to you. Or if you'd like, you can join my Discord. where we talk about tattoos, aftercare, a bunch of other crazy cool fun stuff too. The link for that will be in the description down below, along with all my other social medias and stuff. Sneakily still down there. Always stay repping, you know me. Other than that, give us a like, hit the subscribe button, all that cool stuff. And other than that, I will see you next Tuesday. Wait, what? Oh, I'm gonna get so into saying that. That is funny as anything. See you next Tuesday.